Hello, I'm Mr. Sams. I wanted to make a short video, tell you a little bit about myself, my teaching philosophy, and give you a little encouragement as you start this math course. First, I've been teaching for a little bit over 15 years at this point. I really enjoy it. It came easy to me, so it was also something that allowed you to make money, so why not? I will say that even though a lot of students don't like math and they struggle with math, my philosophy is very simple. I believe that all students can learn. It doesn't matter if you've been good at math, if you've been bad at math, whether you love it, you hate it. Everybody can learn math. I believe that for a few very simple reasons. One is when I was younger, I used to see commercials on TV of SeaWorld, and so I pulled up a little SeaWorld image. In those commercials, it would show them teaching killer whales to jump out of the water for fish. And it kind of blew my mind when you start to think about it, like, how does somebody even begin to think they can do this? So you can't breathe underwater, you can't speak underwater. This is a huge whale, it can swallow you whole, but yet somehow man has captured it, trained it on command to jump out of the water for fish, and it just kind of blows my mind. And animals are creatures of inferior intelligence compared to human beings. I can train a dog, it's smaller than me, but I don't know how you do this with the whale, but we've done this, and these animals, again, inferior intelligence can learn. So can we. You also have students and people sometimes born with handicaps, or maybe handicaps happen throughout life where they lose their sight or without hearing, but they still learn to communicate and speak or read. Okay, so someone blind can learn to read using Braille, or someone deaf learns how to communicate and talk using sign language. If these people who don't have all their senses can learn, then certainly we can as well. Also, I always tell students that never have does not mean never will. So some people say, I've never been good at math, or I never had, or never had. And I just like to say that there was one point in time where I didn't have a driver's license, and I never thought to myself, I'm never going to get my driver's license. Even if I took the test and I failed it and had to do it a few more times, I was still able to keep working. So as long as you're persistent and you work toward that goal, you will be successful. And so I just kind of tied that into math. Now, I also like to kind of give some examples on how we learn. I watched a series of videos that a student had introduced me to once, and it talked about the different levels that we go through when we're learning information. So this could be applied to anything, not just math, but if you're on the job, if you're learning an instrument or anything like that. It says we go through 4 stages of learning information. The first 2 happen. I'm going to give you the technical terms, and then I'll give you the simplified version. So the first thing that we go through when we're learning new information is unconscious incompetence, meaning we don't know what we don't know. So I could ask you guys, have you ever heard of a math class called topology? Maybe that's something that you've never heard of. Okay, so you didn't know what topology was. The second stage you go through is conscious incompetence, where you know that this is something you don't know. So now if you hear somebody say, hey, have you ever heard of topology? Well, you've heard it mentioned, but you still don't know what it is. But now you know that this is something that you don't know. And then maybe somebody teaches you topology. So it's a study of shapes or whatever. And then if you learn that, then you get to the level what we call conscious competence, where you know that you know. And then after you do it over and over again, if you've practiced this time and time and time again, you get to a point where you call unconscious competence, which is kind of like autopilot. I feel like I'm at that level with math because I've been doing it for years and years, over 15 at this point. But you guys won't be there. So again, I want you to know that you don't have to be at that level. I want you to practice and get better. But the example of this, the real simple example is tying a shoelace. So like if you were like 2 years old and somebody said, hey, do you know how to tie your shoe? the very first time somebody asked you that, you didn't even know that you didn't know how to tie your shoe. Okay, you didn't know that you didn't know that. The next time, let's say you're 3 or 4, somebody says, "Hey, do you know how to tie your shoe?" Now you know that you don't know that. And then somebody teaches you how to tie your shoe, so you actually have to apply conscious thought. You have to think about it. Loop, swoop, pull, left over right. But after you've tied your shoe hundreds of times, has anybody been keeping count? Maybe 1,000 times, 10,000 times, like you do it multiple times a day. Nobody keeps count. It's useless trivia. But after a period of time, you get to a point where it's called unconscious competence, where you can just tie your shoe without even thinking about it, and you can actually carry on a conversation with somebody while you're doing it, and not even have to look at the shoe. So that's what it's going to take for you to learn math. You're going to have to practice. Okay, you've probably heard this saying, "Practice makes perfect." That saying is a little bit flawed. I would say perfect practice makes perfect. Because if you practice the wrong way, you will never become perfect. So it doesn't matter if you're learning math, you're learning a musical instrument, you're playing a sport, you go to practice every day. So whether I'm a great math teacher or not, your success will depend on you and your ability to practice and put in this time, especially with online courses, because you're disconnected from classmates. You have to be highly motivated. You have to be highly disciplined, because anything at home, work, family, friends, things will distract you. And so you have to definitely make it a discipline, find a time where you're going to set aside to work on this math. But if you practice, if you do it over and over again, even sometimes if you feel like you're not getting anything out of it, you are. I tell students, if you think about planting a tree, if I plant a tree and I go outside and look at it today, I won't see anything. Okay, I don't know how long it takes for you to see a bud, but over time that tree will begin to grow, and after a few years, it produces fruit. Now we don't have a few years in the class; we only have a few weeks, and so even though things don't appear to be happening, things are taking place underground, deep within you when you study and you practice. And even if you do something wrong, you're learning a way, hey, this doesn't work, or you're learning, hey, I got to watch out for this mistake, and then you are getting better. Don't think you have to get it right every time the first time, but just as long as you put in the work, if you put in the practice, you will get better. Again, never have does not mean never will. And again, I hope that you kind of understand this and this resonates with you. But again, if you work at it, you will get better. In this course, I will have videos for you that show you step by step how to work these problems, and it's going to be up to you to just watch them, to practice, to take notes, and then as you do that, you will learn, and it will just become part of your memory to a point to where you become autopilot. I do think it's important that you guys are able to use your notes, so you can use notes and things like that on exams. Because even I have to go back and review information. I have a lot of stuff memorized because I do it a lot, but people forget, and we got to go back and review. And so I think if you show that you can learn it, when you really need it, you can relearn it. So anyway, other than that, I enjoy watching anime, trying to learn some new languages. That's kind of a challenge of mine. I have 4 kids that keep me busy with sports. You might even be able to find some of their sporting videos on my YouTube channel. I write poetry every now and then, and I game a little bit too much. I play Xbox. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. I'm going to make a post for you guys to introduce yourselves as well. And again, if you need help at any time during the semester, don't be afraid to reach out. Send an email, send a Blackboard message, whatever you got to do. And I'll do the best I can to get with you and help you achieve ultimate success in this class. Good to meet you guys, and good luck.